I went to UGA, University of Georgia.
Definitely.
So it's like Alabama, you know what I mean? Those
yep.
kind of universities. So anyways, it like clicked in my head. I was like, and remember at this point I haven't had classes, so I'm not ready. I don't know what I'm going to learn. You know, I could learn everything. I could learn nothing, you know, it's still day one.
Right.
But it clicked in my head. I was like, the biggest opportunity is the people here. So I actually, day one, this is pretty cool. Day one, I went through 9 floors in my dorm of probably 30 doors a floor at least. And I knocked on every door and introduced myself. Nice. Day one. We didn't even start school yet.
Social.
Right? I was like, this is the game I have to play here. Yeah. Like, and here's what it was for me too, is like, it was like realization after realization. So realization 1 was I got a network. Realization 2, after I knocked on 9 floors, I went to my room. I was like, I'm actually whoever the fuck I want to be right now, because like
start over.
No one knows who I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, it like clicked in my head. I'm like, everything in high school that people hated or loved or whatever it was, like the perception people have, no one knows anything about me. They just know this is what I look like.
Yeah.
And that's it.
You're starting from scratch.
So I can do whatever I want. So I can be whoever I want. I was like, I'm going to play my cards right for 4 years. So then first semester, so first 4-month period of school, whatever it is, you know, August to December, I never had a meal with the same person in the entire semester.
Nice.
So I would, dude, I'm telling you, you would have no idea how awkward this is. Imagine 6 a.m. for class. There's a cafeteria and there's like one dude sitting and there's 400 tables. And I walk up to his table. And I'm like, hey, you mind if I sit down with you? And they just look around every time like, you're fucking kidding me, bro. You know, like.
I would talk about someone like you. Like I would go back home to my friends or to my family and be like, you know, I was just eating breakfast peacefully. And I was so excited to just kind of like meditate to myself that morning. And then a random guy came to me and asked if he could sit next to me. What the heck?
100%, right? Weird as shit. And like dude, it was an awkward conversation every time. But I did it. I sat down, you know.
Perspective.
But after a year, everyone knew me. Everyone. And it wasn't in a bad way. Like it's awkward in a first instance, right? Like this guy sat down, but then like as you find out, oh, your friends know who he is too, and these people, you're like, oh, I guess maybe he's not a weird guy.
Right.
It was just a weird scenario that we met. You know what I mean? And so that was a positive ROI for me on college. I didn't learn shit. Think about it. I got into social media marketing, and at the time I was in college doing my own ads. There wasn't a single YouTube video or a Google article on how to do ads. So these things like didn't exist, let alone the school system teaching me what social media ads are, or influencer marketing, or any of these things. You know what I mean? Like they didn't exist. They were teaching me how to, you know, how to market via television and radio. And, you know, it was just like, there was no value to my degree at all, honestly. And so from a monetary value, my parents paid for it all. I had a 90% scholarship. That's what Georgia does. If you have a certain GPA, they give you 90% of all your stuff paid. So nice. They paid for my housing. But in fairness, you know, I worked with the family and helped them make money, right? And that's how they covered me, was like, hey, you know, go do your thing in college. Just don't spend a boatload of money. Right. I say all that to say, you know, it's cool to see the perspectives of ROI. You say yes because of education, right? From your master's?
I would say yes because it opened my mind. I don't think I was so deeply educated in any specific area, but I think it opened my mind and it made me more curious. Okay. So that's my answer.
So for me, it made me more closed-minded, weirdly enough.
I can relate to that for sure.
Why?
So I wrote a novel before college, and I felt like my mind was so open, and I was so excited to be a writer. And once I got in college, it felt like it gave me so much structure, it boxed me in. And I didn't work on a novel for so long. And so when I had told people, when I got into my expertise, like writing classes towards my junior year, when I told them that I had written a novel, none of them had done the same. And I was like, how am I in a writing degree, in a specific writing class, and most of you want to be published authors, and I'm the only one that wrote a book, and I did it before college. Yeah. And I felt like they experienced what I experienced, but I got lucky because I wrote my book before I got here. Yeah. So they're all like, oh my God, you already wrote a book. Are you published? What was the process like? And I'm like, you're 21. You're at the end of your writing degree. How have you not pursued this yet? Yeah. And I think they suffered from what you just said, where college does kind of box you in. And I think this might apply maybe to people who are pursuing like creative degrees, I guess. I can see, you know, I know you also studied business as well, but I can see it in a lot of arts majors where they feel like I just took my hobby and I just got boxed into a rubric, you know. And so it wasn't until that realization I went during my junior year of college and I wrote my second novel, because I was like actively looking for a way to break past this boxed structure.
Yeah.
Like when I had come to that realization that like, damn, I think I just spent the last 3 years trying to figure out how to become a writer instead of like being a writer. So my junior year, I was like, I'm going to be a writer again, just to prove it to myself, you know? And I wrote my second novel. And so I think you're totally right. For a lot of people, college can, in many ways, definitely teach you which doors are worth opening and which avenues are worth pursuing in terms of knowledge, and teach you what you don't know that you don't know. But for a lot of creative people, it might box them in and make them forget that there's this whole world that you can explore, but instead we're going to teach you about Jane Austen literature. You know?
Yeah. Did you guys ever go to like career fairs and stuff in college?
During college, never.
Okay, cool.
No.
So I did, just to see, you know, and so well, this I guess segues into a different topic, so we can kind of just talk about both at the same time. But I believe that if your family had to immigrate, not was born in the U.S., but was an immigrant, if your family had to immigrate into the U.S., then you have a different level of work ethic. And I'm just taking on an average, you know, I'm not,
I agree.
You know, there's people that here that work harder than us, whatever, like, you know, but because of that, I always grew up, you know, never seeing my dad wear a suit to a corporate job, for example, in my case. So my dad came, long story short, started flooring company, started installing, did high quality work, started getting asked by Home Depot, Lowe's to do big projects on hotels. Business blew up, took the money, saved it all, built a water park in the Middle East, ran that and a flooring company here that was super successful. And I worked with him the whole way, right? Whether it was in the summer, we'd go. And I remember I'd work on a Lebanese salary as a kid, like $300 a month. I'm like, I'll take it. $300 a month full time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was just like more into like finding a way to make money through my dad and contributing to the business. And so I say all that to say I never like in my head was like, oh, I want to work for Geico. You know what I mean? Or I want to work for Coca-Cola or the Big Five, or that was like never a thing. And so going into college, that became a thing. That everyone started convincing me that that's what's cool. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm going to go work for this big firm. You know what I mean? Where it's like $40K a year starting, and I'm going to get to this point eventually. And like, that's what when I say like it closed my mind a little bit, that's what it was, because, you know, I'm surrounding myself with ambitious people who are, you know, trying to start their own ideas because we're in college and we have that kind of freedom of time to do that. But at the same time, it's like, everyone's like sitting here applying to these jobs, and as much as I was pushed to, it was so foreign to me. I wasn't like a rebel or anything. I was just like, why would I apply for this job? I thought I'm just going to go find a way to make money after college. I thought this is the point. You're going to teach me stuff. I'm going to go, this is business.
True. Yeah.
And I'm going to go try to start a business. You know what I mean? And so, so for me, it kind of closed my mind, but I think it helped that my family was foreign, because it allowed me to see, like, this is kind of what I go back to. Your dad moved here when he was 20?
About, yeah.
Okay. So he didn't probably know English.
Nope, no English, and his first job was a librarian.
Exact. Wow. Okay. Well, that goes kind of against what I was, not really. What I was going to say is like, because of that, he can't go work a corporate job.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, I would never hire your dad if he didn't speak English. You get what I'm saying? So like, and I'm not even corporate. Like, corporate's like another level. And so they kind of had their own restricted opportunity to make things happen. And so they had to find ways to make it happen with a language barrier. And so like, that's why just growing up, I just didn't have that. And so going to college kind of then enclosed me into the possibility of like this. And so last thing, we'll go back into college, but like, cool story. I wanted to see like how much of the system you can work with words. So I always believe if you can speak well and you can communicate with people and you can like sell and you can just have good conversations, that you can win in most environments, even if the rules are written that you're not allowed to win. Like, example, I was in an accounting class. A guy came in, the #1 internship in the country, all this stuff. He gave us a huge pitch. This was like the highest level accounting class, or the hardest accounting class, not the highest level. And he said, if you have a 3.75 GPA, you know, you can apply for this program. And so they passed little pieces of paper around the auditorium. It was like 300 of us. And so I remember so clearly, I was like, I wrote my name, all this stuff, and I put 3.15. And I submitted it. And he gave me a call like, I don't know, like a week later. Hey man, I saw your application. Says here 3.15, minimum requirements like 3.75. Like, why'd you even apply? Like, you basically tell me like you have no chance. And I was like, I'm sure if I sat down in front of you and had a conversation that you would not look at the GPA numbers anymore and you would probably want to hire me over everyone else. Like, just pure confidence, right? So we ended up talking on the phone 5-10 minutes. He's like, okay, fuck it. I'm going to call you in for an interview. And so he called me in for an interview. It was a 3-person interview. I've never seen this before, by the way, because they had to like bulk cycle through people, right? So it was like 3 at a time. Like, all of us are interviewing with this one person. And I forgot how that went, but, you know, again, carried myself well. These 2 people had 3.95s and a 4.0, and I had a 3. My real GPA was like a 3.3 or something like that. So he's like, oh, you're already kind of at a disadvantage. Anyways, I won that interview. They moved on to the next one. And the last interview was me getting to interview him. And it was like 6 interview process, by the way. This is like actually the best internship. Like, you earn like $50,000 in the summer.
Oh, wow.
Working. Like, it's actually nuts. It's like a mini entrepreneurship thing. They tell you to pick a city. You do geographical targeting. They fund all your marketing. You don't have to pay it back. And you're basically setting up a business within an area. It was actually a really cool idea. The downside was you have to miss all summer and you have to work weekends from January to the summer to build up the marketing and the business. So I was like, not about it. Not going to happen. I'm going to Lebanon. Fuck this. But I wanted to prove it to myself. Last interview, I got to interview him. I asked him questions he said he's never been asked in his life in this whole process of recruiting. They offered me the job. I declined it. But like, it
so petty.
But no, it wasn't petty. It was the whole point from the beginning was to see like, if I wanted to play this game that everyone else is trying to play, can I make it?
Right.
And I was like, oh, dude, I can. Like, this GPA actually doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If I actually have a conversation with someone, like as a logical business owner, they'll hire me. And then so that was like my point of like, okay, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Like Definitely. That, like it kind of clicked in my head. I was like, all these rules and all these career fairs and all these things that everyone's playing by is like limiting everyone else. And if I don't play by these rules and I don't give a fuck, then I'll get what I want. Yeah, it's just a matter of enough opportunities and time. So, but that's because of my dad, like what he had to go through, watching him do all these things, risking all these things, like, you know, my mom helping him at work, like these corporate things just never made sense to me. So it's very interesting to see you two come from similar backgrounds of like parents immigrating and kind of seeing how hard you've worked. You guys worked so many jobs. It sounded like you worked like 4 jobs during college.
I think four or five.
Yeah,
from high school to college.
Yeah, I mean, during college, I just had T-Mobile wedding photography. Dutch Bros was right after college. I worked at a cologne store during high school, and then Nominal. So I guess 5.
Hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full episode, you can click right here. If you want to watch more clips, you can click right here. And if you want to subscribe to this channel, you can click right here to stay up to date when we drop new clips.